All right, so this is going to be a reading for Sagittarius. And for the Sagittarius that I'm reading for today, I'm seeing that there's a very important connection in your life, and your intuition is speaking to you loud and clear, but you might not be listening to it. So that's what this reading is going to be about today. Now, before I dive in, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for receiving this reading. If you'd like a personal reading, I do offer them on my website, ajstarot.com. So you can go to my website in my description box below to book a reading with me. And if this reading resonates with you, please take a moment to like and subscribe, as that helps me out a lot. So, Sagittarius, let's get into it. Your overall energy for the reading is the Knight of Swords. So, I'm getting that as really like a racing mind or racing thoughts. We'll see what that's about in a second. In the recent past, we have the Eight of Pentacles, the King of Cups, and the Ace of Cups. So, a lot of love going into something. This could be you, or this could be someone in your energy. In the current energy, we have the Devil, the Queen of Cups, the Star. This could also be you or someone else, but I'm seeing that there are two sides of a relationship. And there's a lot of desire here with the star, and there's also a lot of fear or something holding someone back with the devil. We'll see what that is when we clarify. And then in the near future, we have the Ace of Wands, the Three of Cups, and the Knight of Wands. There may be a new beginning here in a relationship. I'm getting this to be sort of like a very important friendship, or maybe there's some type of reunion. But there's something that kind of gets ignited there with the Ace of Wands and the Knight of Wands. And I'm seeing that it feels really good, but it also does mark a new beginning. And for your oracle cards, we have completion, new vision, and innocence. So something is closing out or something is completed, and it makes way for something new. We have new vision and innocence. And in this oracle deck, innocence is also similar to the Fool card, which is the first card in the tarot sequence. It represents a new beginning, starting fresh, no baggage, taking a risk, taking a leap of faith, that type of thing. And so there could be something new coming in that requires you to be fully open and kind of free of baggage. Let whatever completed from the past kind of cycle out with that completion card, so you can be fully open to this new vision. Let's dive into the reading on a deeper level. When I clarified the Knight of Swords, I got the Seven of Swords, the High Priestess, and the Four of Cups. And this is why in the beginning of the reading I said your intuition is speaking to you, but you might not be listening. The High Priestess represents your intuition, it represents your instincts, it also represents your higher selves, your spirit guides. So for some of you, this could be like your angels, your spirit guides, your guardians, or your ancestors coming in and having something to say to you. But with the Seven of Swords and the Four of Cups, you might be missing the message, or you're unhappy with the message, so you're not listening to it, or you're not taking the signals that are being given to you. And you might feel them on a spiritual level with the High Priestess here. You might feel them in your intuition, in your dream state, something like that, maybe when you're praying. But on a day to day level, your mind could be moving at a million miles per hour with the Knight of Swords and the Seven of Swords, and you might not be seeing things clearly or listening to yourself and what your higher self is trying to say to you. Um, there could be something there that you don't want to accept or that upsets you. So it's really important to kind of quiet the mind and go within and be really honest with yourself about the energies that you're picking up on. Let's take a look at, we have the King of Cups in the recent past. For the King of Cups, we get the Hermit, the Nine of Swords, and the Five of Cups. So someone really trying to heal from something very difficult, something very, very stressful, very painful, not a good energy. There is healing over it. There's sort of a desire to heal from it, to understand it, and to get through it. But it looks, again, very difficult. There's also a desire to connect to the heart here with the Eight of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. This might have been over something that someone loved very much, or it could just mark something kind of spiritually significant in general. Let's look at that Eight of Pentacles. We have the Five of Wands, the Three of Wands, and the King of Wands. Someone was very invested in someone else, but it was really a struggle in this connection, and there was always sort of this question of, is this other person going to come through? Are they going to be there for me? Do they care for me the way I care for them? It looks sort of lopsided in the way that the energy was exchanged. Like one person was always putting in more and very invested, really wanting to kind of give to this other person, but there was this feeling of being breadcrumbed or waiting on the other person, waiting for them to show up. And while one person was very much in love, the other person looks a little flightier, a little bit flakier with that King of Wands, very fiery, but maybe not as emotionally available. So there was a lot of love here, but there was also a lot of struggle and conflict and pain, and it marks sort of a healing process for someone over that experience. Let's take a look at the Ace of Cups, the Justice card, the King of Swords, the Ace of Pentacles. Eventually, whoever was healing from this connected to their heart space for themselves also, and kind of realized what they deserve and realized that they need something else in love. There's definitely this feeling of like, if I'm going to connect with someone, I need to connect with someone who can return that energy. With the Three of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, that's an energy of building with someone, of collaboration, and of equal give and take. And so there's a feeling of, I think I need to start fresh with someone who can match my energy with that Justice card, with someone who I can trust with the King of Swords, and someone who has something to offer with the Ace of Pentacles. There's also a feeling of wanting to be with someone who can actually receive your love. And if you identify with this and you were on the end of the person who is giving love and waiting for it to be received, that's an imbalance too, where not everyone can receive sort of the fullness of your heart space. And so there's this feeling with the Chariot and the Hierophant at the bottom of the deck of needing to move towards something that feels more aligned with your values, and this kind of being a part of that pathway. And this could be the experience that you completed, where there was an imbalance and you tried very hard to kind of make this work, but it didn't work. You had to heal it, get through it, and then through that experience, you actually realize what it is you need, what it is you want, and what's aligned with who you are. So even though it was very difficult, I'm seeing that you may have come through this experience with a renewed sense of who you are and a higher understanding of what's actually right for you. Now, you also might have become disconnected from your intuition during this process. And so you're also in this process of reconnecting to your intuition, reconnecting to your heart space, and kind of feeling realigned with yourself. Let's take a look at the Devil, the Queen of Cups, and the Star in the current energy. Let's look at the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups, we get the Justice card, the Strength card, and the Four of Swords. You're showing me in the current energy, I will do whatever it takes to do the right thing for myself, and to maintain my equilibrium. With the Four of Swords, that represents rest, restoration, a lack of stress, the energy of healing. And you're saying that I need to do what's right for me with the Justice card. At times it might be difficult with the Strength card coming in. You might have to hold back from engaging in certain behaviors or certain patterns that maybe you engaged in the past that led to this difficulty. And so you're showing me this understanding of yourself as an active participant in the life that you're creating. And you're saying it takes effort to be the best version of myself. And you're committed to doing it, but at times it might be difficult. However, I do see you getting to that place. It's interesting because you have the devil on one side of you and the star on the other side of you. So that's kind of like if you had like the devil and the angel on your shoulder in like the cartoons, and the devil is running his mouth, telling you to do all types of stuff that would really ultimately be self-sabotaging and would kind of lead to not good things. And then on the other hand, you have the angel, and the angel just doesn't just tell you what's good to do, but also shows you, sort of your highest version of yourself. Where do you want to be in 5, 10 years? What dreams do you have? And how can you get there? And so they're very opposite energies that you're contending with here. And I see that you're really focused on holding off the devil energy, and kind of resting in the space that you're in so that you can transform into the star energy. Let's take a look at the devil. This could also be what's trying to phase out here when we have that completion card. For the devil, we have the Nine of Cups, the Magician, the Page of Cups. You could be really attached to a certain sort of outcome and manifesting that outcome, and is it going to happen? It could also have to do with like receiving validation and like wanting to receive validation from certain people. And for those of us who have a history of people pleasing, or we do rely on validation a little bit too much, what can often happen is we see someone that we want validation from. Maybe someone that we think is really cool, really attractive, maybe they're famous, maybe they're desirable, whatever it is, and we seek out I was going to say attraction, but we seek out validation from that person, and we tend to get really fixated. Does this person like me? Am I getting attention from this person? Do they approve of me? Things like that. And we actually end up getting really stuck because we give that person a lot of power over us, and a lot of power over our feelings. And if that person doesn't like us, if we don't receive that validation, we don't feel good about ourselves. And I'm getting the sense that in the past, you might have connected with people who weren't aligned with you or weren't right for you because you were seeking out that validation, or you were seeking out that approval with the Nine of Cups to kind of fill your cup with the Page of Cups. And you're having to really not just close out that cycle, but actually separate from that energy, from the need within yourself for validation. And many of you might be going within and looking within and asking yourself, what is it within me that needs attention? Because in this Strength card, we have this person who is sort of taming the beast, and they have the infinity symbol over their head, which marks like the circle of life, and having to sort of continuously grapple with the things that come up within ourselves and tame the beast within us throughout our lives and throughout existence. And you're kind of coming face to face with that beast within yourself and seeing the truth of it. And it actually starts to set you free with new vision, innocence, and the Four of Swords. It's like you're finally able to relax because you're no longer seeking out validation from, not just from someone else in particular, but from anyone else. And you start to kind of restore yourself by seeking out validation from yourself and asking, am I happy with myself? And that question, am I happy with myself, it sets you on a new path. It sets you on a new vision where you start to ask yourself, if nobody else mattered, what would make me happy with myself? What would make me proud of in myself? How would I want to be in the world, regardless of what anyone else is doing? And that's where you start to have this new vision, this star. Let's take a look at the star card. the Hierophant, the Seven of Cups, the King of Cups. You're still sort of in this pathway of asking yourself, what would be most meaningful to me? And this is where I go back to the High Priestess in your overall energy, where we have the Seven of Swords, the Four of Cups. What it is that's most meaningful for you, it speaks to you immediately. You already know it deep within yourself, but then I see you getting kind of confused. You have the Seven of Cups, this Four of Cups, this Seven of Swords, this Knight of Swords, and those are cards of like a very confused, kind of tangled up energy in your heart and your mind. And there's almost like this clarification process that you're going through. And I just got the image in my head of like those water purification packets, and like they have them in areas with really polluted water, and you either pour the water into these, or you know you basically put this water through this filter and it purifies the water, and often there are these little tablets that actually purify the water from the inside. And that's what you're doing, is you're really clarifying your vision from the inside. So I see you clarifying your vision from the inside, and it's really a process of clearing out a lot of that old stuff, where you're in the process of completing what you experience, and then it's not like it's done and boom, you flip the page, you're onto something new. You actually have to let that energy dissipate and leave and clear out, and it requires a certain level of not just patience, but like giving love to yourself, giving yourself time, and finding clarity kind of in the noise. And it's interesting because I see that you have the answer within yourself. It's really just a matter of reaching inside yourself and getting to that answer. And that's what you're in the midst of. It's funny because when I started this reading, I saw the King and the Queen of Cups, and I thought that this was about a connection. But now I'm seeing that these represent these two energies within yourself, of, the masculine energy and the feminine energy, coming into alignment, so that you feel confident enough to do whatever it is that you want to do or you need to do. And it's a relationship that you have with yourself. Let's look at the near future. We have the Ace of Wands, the Three of Cups, and the Knight of Wands. I do see you connecting to something new, feeling this new energy, this spark with the Ace of Wands, and then taking off towards it. Let's take a look at the Ace of Wands, the Eight of Pentacles, the Ace of Cups, the Two of Cups. Things start to click into place, and then you're like in alignment with yourself, and it like unlocks this door, and you have the key to this door, and you open the door, and just your heart sort of comes out, and your heart leads the way. And it allows you to connect not just to yourself from a more harmonious place, but you connect to other people and things as well, and you put the best of yourself into whatever you're doing. And it's because, like I said, things start to click into place, and that fragmentation that you're feeling, that clarification process completes, and you're well on your way. Let's look at the Three of Cups. The Three of Cups again, the Temperance card, and the King of Wands. There's an energy from your past that comes back around, and I see it as being that energy that you weren't aligned with, but it feels different this time, in the sense that there's more clarity on both sides, both on your end and on the end of this other energy, with the Six of Wands and the Ace of Swords and the Knight of Cups here, where enough time has passed, but it's not just that the time has passed, it's that in that time, one or both of you have become clear within yourself, and so you're able to connect on a clear level. And it might not be the like an actual person from your past, but it's an energy from your past that comes around, and you feel the completion of that energy, and it helps you sort of open up and move forward in a better way. And it's interesting because I think often we think of completion as this is done, now I put it over here and it's complete, it's closed. And this is actually something that is completed, and so it allows for an energy to open up rather than close down. And I see it feeling really good to you, and that might even come as a surprise of like, oh, I didn't know that this was going to open up or that it was going to feel good. Then we have the Knight of Wands, and for the Knight of Wands we have the King of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles, the Five of Cups. When this energy comes back around, I'm seeing that you might have matured, but the other energy still isn't quite there. And there's like a flurry of energy, and there's a feeling of sadness or disappointment over it still not being aligned, because you're just not, there's like a difference in maturity or like a difference in growth. Whereas you've gone through this healing process and you've clarified your energy and you've kind of wrestled with the devil on your shoulder, I'm seeing that this other energy just isn't quite there, and there's some disappointment kind of over that. This feeling of like, oh, like I wish that this could have worked out, or maybe it feels like a missed opportunity or something like that. Let's get 3 cards of advice from the universe for you. From the universe, we have the Queen of Pentacles, the Knight of Wands, and the Fool. Part of this process is about you being really honest with yourself and looking at what you need to look at, completing what you need to complete so you can start something new. And with the Three of Swords at the bottom of the deck, if this is resonating with you, I'm seeing that whatever you went through in the past, it could have felt so big and so intense and so consuming that it almost felt like that was it, like a part of you died or like a part of your life ended, and how could you continue on? And I'm actually seeing that that was a really significant part of your spiritual development, and it happened and it needs to be acknowledged, but it wasn't meant to be the end of your journey, and it definitely wasn't meant to be the end of your life or anything like that. And you have much more to do and to discover and to feel and to experience, and it's okay that you are in pain, but when it's done, just kind of let it be done, and then let yourself open up, because I see a lot of really positive energy that you're stepping into. It's just something does complete, and then this energy comes back around. I see you seeing it and also seeing that it doesn't align with you, and then once and for all you're kind of able to take off into the new energy. And some of you might be feeling like on one hand this process is taking place on a deeper level, and then on another hand it's deeply uncomfortable, and so you're sort of wrestling with that devil on your shoulder, and that's okay. That's just part of the process. But this is what I have for you, Sagittarius. I hope that this helps. I hope this resonates, and I'll see you next time.